Hi, I'm Mr. Foutty. I teach Integrated Math 3. I'm going to show you today how to solve an inequality on the coordinate plane and some of the common mistakes made by students when they go to solve something like this. So as we look at this one, 4x plus 2y is less than or equal to 10. First thing we notice is that it's in standard form. In order to graph something like this, there are two ways to do it, either using slope-intercept form or a table of values. But in order to do either one of those, we have to have them in slope-intercept form. So the first thing I want to do is I need to put this in slope-intercept. It's always the same two steps if you're in standard form. First thing you're going to do is move the 4x over by subtracting 4x. On the left-hand side, it cancels. On the right-hand side, well, cancels, I'm left with 2y, and then on the right-hand side, here's the most common mistake I see. Students will attempt to add those two to get 6x. You cannot add those two together because they are not like terms. In order for them to be able to add it together, either the 10 would have to have an x, or the negative 4 would just be a number. But since they're not, I'm going to go ahead and write down the 4x first, the negative 4x. And I'm allowed to do that. The reason why I did that is in slope-intercept form, I want to have my x first, and then my number. All right, last step. That means 2 times y. I want to do the opposite of that. The opposite of multiplying by 2 is to divide by 2. And instead of putting one long divisor bar, I'm going to put 2 separate division problems because I want to keep these two things separate from one another. Because when you have slope-intercept form, you have the slope and the y-intercept. That cancels. I'm left with y is less than or equal to negative 2x plus 5. Right, so now that I have it in slope-intercept form, slide that over. I could go ahead and graph this. Now you need to decide how do you want to do it. There are two ways. There's slope-intercept form and table of values. What I'm doing now is all I want to do is I want to find at least 2 points, preferably 3 points to graph in order to draw my line. If you want to do table of values, what you're going to do is take any 3 numbers here that you can pick for x. I usually pick these 3. Plug them in one at a time and get your y. So if I plug in negative 2 in for x right there, I get negative 2 times negative 2 plus 5. That's 4 plus 5, which is 9. I plug in 0 for x, and I get 0 plus 5, which is 5. I plug in 2, and that would end up making that positive 2, so negative 2 times positive 2 is negative 4 plus 5 is 1. We'll plot these 3 points. Negative 2, 9 is right there. 0, 5 is here. And 2, 1 is there. Now, if I were to use slope-intercept to graph this, I would start at the origin. The second number tells me to go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we see we end up on the same point. So this is just a different way to get those points. And then my slope is negative 2, which I have to have as a fraction. So that's negative 2 over 1. So that means down 1, 2, and 1 to the right. Down 1, 2, and 1 to the right. All right, so that whole process was just to get my points. Now I need to determine what kind of line do I have. It's less than or equal to. I have a solid line underneath, which means I'm going to graph with a solid line. That. The last step when you are graphing, you need to shade. So I'm going to shade. It's less than. So I go to where the line is. Less than would be below the line. You make a mark below the line. That means this side is what gets shaded. And that's how we solve it.